actually, what jogged my memory with this was that I had a chance to, and if you watch these droids and Ewoks, you got to be wondering, like, what was going on with these writers? This episode, by the way, Peter Sauter and Stephen Wright. And it's spelled the same way as comedian Stephen Wright, but I don't think it's the same guy that wrote this. This was early on. This was episode 4 of the first season. Yeah. But back in 2008, I had a chance to talk to one of the writers of Droids and Ewoks, legendary writer for animation, the creator of Harley Quinn, Paul Dini. And I was able to ask Paul what were they thinking when they were writing this, and at what point did they discover that they weren't really going to be writing Star Wars as we know it? So I've got this clip from this interview back in 2008.
Did you know going into it that it wasn't really Star Wars, but yet it was? It was...
Well, what had happened was that we didn't really. We thought we were going to have a little more freedom than we had, And Saturday morning, and it was for the networks and broadcast standards and everything, and it was a step toward the shows that would exist 10 years beyond that. But it was still kind of dismal as far as trying to get some creativity in there. People were trying it. Like Henson had come out with Muppet Babies, and that was a pretty creative show.
Oh yeah.
And Disney was getting involved in Saturday morning and in afternoon programming, but it was still the network's old school mentality that it's all for kids. Do not reach beyond what the focus groups say that children can't understand. Do not show violence. Do not show weaponry and all that sort of thing. Going in, we thought we'd have more freedom. That was what was talked about. We thought we would be doing more of a Star Wars type show, but it didn't turn out that way. So we tried to concentrate on other elements, like making the shows look pretty, or characters, or comedy, or something, in order to do the episodes. But it was kind of disappointing that we didn't get the big toys to play with. I mean, we did. I mean, we could have still done terrific shows if we were on Cartoon Network or cable or something. It's just that the network mindset killed us, which was sort of like, don't be as creative as you can be because it's for kids and kids don't get it, and do not show any violence or conflict. And, what a breath of fresh air it is for Ventress to stick a lightsaber through a guy's chest. It's like, thank you.
We talked to Paul because at that point he was writing. He had written a couple of episodes of Clone Wars, including one where Asajj Ventress takes a saber to the chest, or delivers a saber to the chest, I believe. I can't remember. It's been a lot. But anyway. Clip. Yeah, so Paul Dini, legendary guy. He was a lot of fun to talk to, and he was there. They did the best they could. These guys. It wasn't like you watch it and you're like, did anybody actually see Star Wars that's writing these shows? Believe me, they did. They were fans, but it was just a different time. Jim, back then those cartoons, whether they were based on Planet of the Apes or Star Wars or Star Trek, I will say stayed pretty true to the original series, to the point where some fans even consider that animated series a lost 4th season of the original series. But for the most part, it was really dumbed down. Even, Super Friends and things like that. They didn't play up to the kids. They played way down to the kids. So,
and kids loved Star Wars, but they wouldn't even do Star Wars level conflict, action, violence, what have you. And so it's like, who are you targeting this for? 5-year-olds? Okay, fine. I guess they're the only kids watching Saturday morning cartoons. I don't think so. But, kids, I think kids were more sophisticated in the 80s than Hollywood gave them credit for being. Yeah. And you can see it in the pop culture and entertainment of that era.